Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Anneliese Kuemmerle, Program Associate and Registered Dietitian with the Department of Family and Community Health Sciences at Rutgers Cooperative Extension of Cape May County. Today's monthly Lunch and Learn topic continues in our series of whole foods for health goals, and today we will be talking about superfoods. Here are the talking points for today. We'll look at what a superfood is, your whole diet, and then some budget-friendly tips and tricks for helping you navigate some of that package advertisement at the grocery store. Before we jump in, I will share a little bit about Rutgers Cooperative Extension. Rutgers Cooperative Extension is a partnership between Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, the Board of County Commissioners of New Jersey, and the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture. We are Rutgers' arm to local communities and have offices in all counties throughout New Jersey. We offer cooperative extension services to support the community and to deliver research-based information. We have 3 departments: Agriculture and Natural Resources, 4-H Youth Development, and my department is Family and Community Health Sciences. At FCHS, we provide outreach about nutrition, chronic disease prevention, food safety, and overall wellness. Rutgers Cooperative Extension is an affirmative action equal opportunity employer. So let's pause and reflect before we go any further. When you hear the word superfood, what pops into your mind first? Is it a specific food, a feeling that something is healthy, or is it a thought that a specific food can help fix something? What led you to that thought? Was it something that you read or saw on social media? Did you hear about it from a friend, colleague? Did you read it on a food package you may have seen? What do you expect from a superfood? More energy, weight loss, reduced inflammation, disease prevention? And there's no right answer to this. We are sharing a moment to notice the feelings and thoughts that we have when a certain word gets attached to a food. Most of the time, a food gets called a superfood because it has a lot of certain nutrients, it's advertised as helping prevent disease, or will help you lose weight, or keep you from getting sick, or melt inflammation. The list goes on and on. A superfood is made to seem like it has extra health benefits beyond just the nutrients that are in that food. And the implication is that by adding a superfood to your diet, you can improve your health without having to make other lifestyle modifications, like changing your overall diet pattern. If anyone joined us last month for the presentation on fad diets, you might remember that this quick payoff, no other changes needed mindset was on our red flag list for qualities of a fad diet. And whether we're talking about fad diets or superfoods, the idea of a quick payoff is indeed a red flag. So where did the superfood term come from? On the next slide, I will show you the very first superfood, according to an article from Harvard Public Health. And I want everyone to take a second and guess what the first food to be marketed as a superfood was, when it happened, and who was behind it. The banana diet craze. The United Fruit Company embarked on a very enthusiastic advertising campaign to promote their main import, bananas. The company put out informational pamphlets. One of them was called The Food Value of the Banana. The campaign started by promoting bananas as cheap, nutritious, easy to digest, they're readily available, and they're wrapped up in nature's own to-go packaging. Still holds true to this day. And to get people to eat more bananas, the company suggested adding bananas in cereal for breakfast, adding them to salads at lunch, and frying them with meat for dinner. So at least one of those recommendations has stood the test of time and remains popular. The advertising campaign got the attention of the medical community, and doctors started recommending the banana diet as a treatment for celiac disease. Gluten had not been discovered yet, and ironically for diabetes. Mothers started buying more bananas for their children. The United Fruit Company then circled back on the health claims and started advertising the health benefits of bananas. And I share this example because it looks funny to us now, and that's the point. A small handful of scientific studies gets turned into press headlines by companies trying to sell it, and health claims are used to advertise a food as extra healthy, and this drives up sales. Sound familiar? And it all started with bananas, the original superfood. And today, the superfood industry is a billion-dollar industry. But there is no science-backed or regulated definition for the term superfood. It is not a term that is regulated by the Food and Drug Administration or the Federal Trade Commission. I bring these two organizations up because the FDA regulates nutrition labels and food packaging. The FTC offers recommendations about how advertising must be truthful and cannot be misleading. The FTC provides guidance to help companies make sure that health-related ads are truthful, not misleading, and backed by good science. Since 1998, the FTC has handled over 200 cases where ads made false or misleading claims about the benefits or safety of products like supplements, food, over-the-counter medications, tests, health devices, and even apps. When the FTC reviews an ad, they look at both the direct claims as well as the implied message behind those claims. And then they check whether or not the science actually supports those claims. These rules apply broadly to any health-related product, not just supplements. And FTC guidance is meant to help companies follow the law, but the guidance itself isn't a law, so it does get a little confusing. The FTC can order companies to stop claims, to add disclosures, to run corrective ads, or to involve the court system to have the company issue refunds to consumers or to pay fines if they are proven to be misleading in their advertising. And the FDA and FTC coordinate under liaison agreements to make sure that they are each giving consistent enforcement. But it's important to note that they do not enforce each other's guidance. So the FDA is not going to go after a food company for running deceptive ads. The FTC has to do that. And this is helpful for us to know to help us be savvy shoppers. Health claims should have scientific evidence behind them. The FDA and FTC help protect consumers by setting standards for what can go on a food label and how food can be advertised. But the term superfood is not part of that consumer protection. So we have to be critically thinking when we see the term. And just for reference, there were over 17,000 consumer complaint reports made to the FTC in just 2024 alone, just about food alone. And those 200 cases involving false or misleading advertising claims were the cases that were brought to court and settled. Going along with that, the FDA has issued thousands of warning letters to companies over the years about food-related violations. So while the FDA and FTC can help protect us, they can't review every single product or catch every questionable claim right away. And that's why it helps to be a responsible shopper. It helps to look at the promises on the front of a package as marketing, not as information. And it helps to check the nutrition facts label and the ingredients list and focus on having an overall healthy eating pattern instead of focusing on one miracle food. And while the term superfood is not regulated, the term healthy actually is an FDA regulated label claim. So when you see the word healthy on food packaging, it means that food has to meet FDA regulated standards. Those standards include the food has to contain a certain amount of food from at least one of the food groups or subgroups, like fruit, vegetables, whole grains, fat-free and low-fat dairy, and also protein foods that are recommended by the dietary guidelines. The healthy claim also must meet specific limits for added sugars, saturated fat, and sodium. For example, any grain product with the healthy label cannot have more than 5 grams of added sugar. Dairy cannot have more than 2.5 grams of added sugar, while protein, fruit, and vegetable products cannot have more than 1 gram of added sugar. And these were newly updated in 2024. This is also helpful to know while we're shopping and out and about at the store, because if we see the word healthy on food packaging, it means that these specific criteria have been met. So instead of looking for superfoods, look for healthy on the front packaging. And then after the presentation today, I'll send out a fact sheet from FDA with more information about the healthy claim and what it means and includes and all of that fun stuff we don't have all the time to get into at lunch. Here are some examples of foods that do meet the healthy claim in the meantime. We see here a whole list of whole and minimally processed foods. We see all 5 food groups. We see the basis of an overall healthy diet, which leads us to our next point. Does eating a higher quality diet matter for health? This slide shows the results from a study that analyzed 113 research papers that included over 3 million study participants. The authors looked at several diet quality scores. Higher scores are given to people eating more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats. People with a high intake of added sugars, sodium, and saturated fats score lower. And across these more than 3 million people, those who had the highest diet quality had better health outcomes. For example, they had about a 20% lower risk of dying from any cause compared to people with the lowest diet quality scores. They also had about a 20% lower risk of heart disease, about a 14% lower risk for cancer outcomes, almost 20% lower risk for type 2 diabetes, 18% lower risk for neurodegenerative diseases, and among cancer survivors, an 18% lower risk of dying from cancer. One important note about this study is it synthesized cohort studies, so they show links, but they are not proving cause and effect by themselves. Still, when you see this pattern repeated across multiple studies and millions of people, it supports the main message of today's talk, which is that health comes most from your overall eating pattern, not from adding one special food here and there. Sometimes you'll also see foods advertised as superfoods geared towards helping you lose weight. And some foods are marketed as boosting metabolism or burning fat. We have all seen these. It's important to remember that no food is a substitute for exercise. And this also connects to what we talked about last month with fad diets promising a shortcut and fast results without changing your overall eating pattern or your lifestyle. Superfood weight loss claims fall into this bucket too. It's important to take a step back and remember that your health and your weight are influenced by your overall routine, your eating pattern, the portion sizes, how well you're sleeping, how stressed you are, and how much physical activity you are getting all play into your health as a whole. So even if one specific food is nutritious, it does not replace the benefits that you get from being active or having an overall high quality diet. Enjoying a trendy food is fine. I mean, I do it all the time. But thinking of it as a cure or a shortcut is where we fall into a problematic thought process. So with that, we see that superfoods might be backed by a few studies here and there, but they are not overall, do not have that repetition in the literature that we see with the overall healthy eating pattern across millions of people. And when we're navigating the grocery store, it's helpful to pay attention to the food packaging and the advertising claims on our food. And that can help keep us on our food budget by making us critically think about some of those more expensive options that are advertised with what is called the health halo effect. And a health halo is when one or a couple good sounding words or claims lead us to believe that the food is healthy. We might automatically think it's a better choice, even if it has a lot of added sugar or sodium. I say this all the time, organic candy is still candy. Candy with beet juice in it is still candy. The front packaging of a food can be very appealing. I have been studying nutrition for over 10 years, and I have gotten duped or almost duped by them many times. And we might also be willing to pay more for something if we think it is a healthier choice. And this can lead us to spend money unnecessarily at the grocery store. So the best way to get around all of this is to flip over that glitzy looking package, look at the nutrition facts label, and look at the ingredients list. A product may have these health halo buzzwords you see listed on the screen, like super, natural, organic, gluten-free, plant-based, all of those. And it might contain a superfood like blueberries, and it might be advertising the health benefits of blueberries. But when you flip that package over and look at the label, like the label I have on the screen, you might find that the product actually contains a fair amount of salt and added sugar, and that the superfood ingredient is low on the ingredients list, which means the product as a whole doesn't contain a whole lot of what it is advertising the health benefits of. You might find it easier to just go to the produce section and buy actual blueberries, and then add them to actual oatmeal or actual yogurt. This is also likely to be much cheaper and more nutritious than buying processed food that is disguised as a healthy option. So on the screen, we have a nutrition label for a blueberry bar. It has more sodium than a low sodium food, although the sodium is not too bad on this. But anything more than 140 milligrams of sodium per serving is not a low sodium food. This product also has almost 4 sugar packets worth of added sugar. So if we compare that to a whole foods alternative, like a half of cup of plain Greek yogurt and a half cup of fresh blueberries that we even have room to jazz it up with a teaspoon of honey. We'll throw that in there too. That combination has 140 calories. So we're saving over 100 calories. It has 13 grams of protein, so comparable to the bar. It also has half the carbs of the bar, and only 6 grams of added sugar from the honey. So that ends up being a much more nutritious option. And we would not know that if we did not flip over that bar package and look under the hood and look at that label. This is another example of a processed superfood product with health halo advertising, where it is much more budget friendly to just buy the actual food. The beetroot powder product I looked at, the price on the screen you see at $23.50 a pound, that was on sale when I looked at it. And it had all the health halo buzzwords all over the label. It was gluten-free, it had no added sugar. They used the word superfood on the package. So they're really trying to push this beetroot powder. And beets are great. I love beets. They are a vegetable, they have antioxidants, they are rich in natural nitrates, which the body can actually turn into nitric oxide to help lower blood pressure and increase exercise performance. 1 cup of cooked beets is a good source of fiber, manganese, and magnesium, and they are an excellent source of folate. So I have nothing against beets. Beets are wonderful. The benefits that are linked to beets come from compounds that are found in the whole food. And you can get those benefits for 1/12 of the cost compared to buying the powder, which does not have the fiber. And when I looked at the nutrition facts label on that product, it didn't have anything about vitamin or mineral content. So we know what's in the fresh whole beets, and I have no idea if there's magnesium in this beetroot powder or how much per serving. Beets are delicious when they're roasted and chilled as a salad. The QR code on the screen will take you to a beet, walnut, and goat cheese salad recipe from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. I'll send a link out to everyone afterwards. It looks really good. And if you don't like the earthiness of red beets, golden beets, which are orange in color, are way more mild tasting. I encourage you to give them a try. And for any gardeners who may be watching, gardening season is coming up. Maybe try growing your own beets. The green leafy tops of beets are also really good sauteed with garlic and olive oil like spinach, and they are very high in potassium. So those are very nutritious as well. And when you buy the whole food, you get the whole product. And there are a ton of examples like this where it's simply just more cost effective to eat the whole food. And here's a list of more alternatives. I covered processed versus whole protein foods in the January Lunch and Learn. So we can link that, the link to the YouTube video for that when we send the information out from today's talk in case anybody missed it. But we see the Health Halo superfood containing processed foods, just some alternative whole food options for you to think about instead of those Health Halo processed foods. The probiotic anything, I find that one really interesting. There are probiotic teas on the market. I don't know how the probiotics live in hot tea water, but we can have probiotics from yogurt, kimchi, from sauerkraut. That is the kind that you would get in the produce section. And just feeding your gut a variety of plant foods and a variety of fiber will give your body and your own friendly gut bacteria what they need to thrive and be diverse. So probiotics aren't something that we have to add to our diet. We already have healthy gut bacteria in our body, and we can feed and nourish the ones that we already have by eating a variety of plant foods that are rich in fiber. And in general, all of our fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, whole food plant proteins like beans, peas, and lentils, all of these foods support a healthy eating pattern that research shows can help us be healthier. We don't need special products. We don't need processed powders. We don't need any one specific food to enjoy the health benefits of an overall balanced diet. Following the plate method is a helpful strategy to help you build this healthy eating pattern over time. And again, we don't need specific superfoods for this. Opting for half a plate of fruit and veggies throughout the day, a quarter plate whole grains, and a quarter plate healthy protein can help you build that overall higher diet quality pattern that we saw in the previous slide is linked to all of those positive health outcomes. So some tips for when we're at the store and we are shopping. Shopping across a food group category instead of picking out individual superfoods within that category can help you save money because you are keeping an open mind within the category. Going to the store and saying, I'm going to pick up fruit this week will give you far more options to pick up items that are on sale or items that are in season versus if you are walking into the produce section for a specific superfruit. Aiming for different types and colors to help vary your nutrient intake will keep it interesting for you and keep you from getting bored. And even remember, the inexpensive banana was once heralded as a superfood possessing of great powers. building meals from budget-friendly staples is another way to enjoy the same health benefits that many superfoods are claimed to have. Whole grains like brown rice, oats, whole grain pasta, and popcorn may not have that advertising drive behind them, like some of the ancient grains do, but they are still packed with nutrients, offering fiber, offering potassium, magnesium, and they are an inexpensive way to increase your whole grain intake. And these are all whole foods that fit into a research-backed healthy eating pattern. Another budget-friendly tip and trick for increasing your diet quality is to opt for frozen and canned. Frozen fruits and veggies that have no added ingredients are just as healthy as fresh, usually cheaper. They last longer, and they help avoid waste. While we wait for prices to come down on the superfoods that are local and in season in the summer, like blueberries and tomatoes, we can, in the meantime, be enjoying a variety of frozen fruits and veggies that will help us save money and add variety to our diet over the year. If you have canned beans or lentils in your pantry, those can also be added as a protein for chili, for pasta sauce, for tacos, for casserole. They are very budget friendly and a way to add more protein and also save on meat. If you do half meat and half beans in your taco mix, then you have saved half the price of the meat. You can put it in the freezer for another time. Beans and lentils also add fiber, which most Americans aren't getting enough of. So again, skip the probiotic superfood products and enjoy adding more fiber to your diet with beans. So here are today's key takeaways. Remember that superfood is a marketing term and that your overall diet pattern and getting a variety of healthy foods from all 5 food groups in your diet has been shown by research to be more effective than any single one food. We hope that today's talk helps you be a more savvy shopper when you're navigating the grocery store and that front label packaging. We will release the second poll to ask you what you thought about today's talk. And again, if you're watching on your cell phone, you may not get the poll, and that's fine. We know you're here. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you very much for joining us. Here are the references that were used for today. And I also have included on the screen a flyer about our Empowered to Prevent Type 2 Diabetes program. It is a year-long program that is nationally recognized by the CDC. The program is free. It's offered over Zoom as evening classes. I will be teaching it with the Somerset County FCHS team this May. And I encourage anybody who's interested to scan the QR code and see if you're eligible. Or you can reach out to me. My email address is on the screen and I can help you out. Our next Lunch and Learn will be about growing your own living pantry of herbs. It's one of my favorite talks to give, and that will be Tuesday, April 7th at 12:30. And I wish everyone a wonderful rest of the day.